Hey there. I know that you are looking to keep in touch with your best potential clients and those segments of your connections that want to hear from you and that you want to stay in touch with. We both know that social platforms like the one I'm on right now are unreliable at best. You're putting out content designed to keep you top of mind with folks, to build relationships, and of course to elevate yourself in their eyes, but maybe your content isn't always getting seen. So you know that the best thing to do is to build a relationship with people outside of these platforms. And the reason for that is because you have a better opportunity to control your messaging when you control the delivery mechanism, right? We're the product for these folks. So we have to make sure that we're taking control of our own business and our own connections. Now, I know that I have in the past, I've talked about not having to worry about sending email. That isn't exactly true. It's always the best thing to do to stay in touch with people outside of this platform. As I said, the key is to remember where you are on the business life cycle and to make sure your activities are of the highest value and getting to that great audience. So the point about email, which I have talked about in the past, is don't obsess about getting people on an email list because, first of all, it's just the wrong energy for that. But also because that kind of feeling that I've got to build a big list, it leads you to, first of all, break the rules and break the laws around email. But you really want to make sure that you're only talking to people who really want to get communication from you. I actually have I have a couple of sub lists in my email list. Of course, segmentation, that's what that's referred to as. And one of the big ones is the group of people that are just colleagues, right? That I just want to stay in touch with. I've extended my, to, hey, do you want to stay in touch with me outside of this platform? I'll just shoot you a couple of emails a month, let you know what I'm up to. Yeah, people said yes. I have a nice size list of colleagues and I'm building relationships with those folks. So you want to make sure that you always have the best intention and the most client focused intention whenever you are communicating in general, but certainly when you're sending email. So back to this topic. I was working on a project for a client this morning. She is putting together an email campaign for past and current clients. She wants to let them know about a next level offering that they have, right? Otherwise known as an upsell. And so she wants to send out this email inviting people to have a conversation with her about this or to just outright purchase if they know that this is right for them, right? So she's going to send this out, obviously, as I said, via email. So as I was working on this, I had this like out of body experience where I thought, you know what, I'll bet there are other people that need to hear about this. So while yes, she compensated me for the work that I'm doing for her, I wanted to just give you a little bit of insight into what to think about when you are sending emails. And she is a very kind and generous person. She has let me use her in the past as a demonstration. So I thought I would come in and just share this with you. So one big tip that I can give you, okay, tip number one to be visual, you want to make sure that you keep your subject line, and that's all we're talking about in this video, keep your subject line to between 40 to 60 characters. The reason for that, shorter is always better. The reason for that is because the majority of people are going to check their email at some point on a mobile device. You've got people that that may always check their email on a mobile device. You have people who, like me, rarely do it. But you do have folks who at least once a day maybe are in a position where they're checking email on a mobile device. So they've got this little teeny tiny screen and they're trying to look at your subject line. So that's why you want to keep your subject line short, to the point. Another tip for you, and of course, I have notes here that I'm going to be referring to, and I have my second monitor. So if I'm looking around, that's what I'm looking at. By the way, if you have any questions, feel free to post them. And if they're about anything other than subject lines, I'll try to answer them in maybe another video or a separate post. By the way, my name is Winnie Anderson. I'm a branding content strategist. I work with service-based businesses and I create strategies and client acquisition tools to help these businesses shorten their sales cycle and stay connected to their best prospects. So that's what we're doing here today. Tech tip on Tuesdays. I'm usually here a few times a week on Facebook sharing content. If you like this, let me know. Show some love. You can share this with friends. Okay, back to our scheduled conversation. So the length of that subject line, you want it to stay between 40 to 60 characters on average. Now, how do I do that? How do I stay on top of that? I use a tool, and I'm going to share my screen. So 1 second while I move this over. I only have like 9,000 tabs open. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen. Share screen. I'm using the fabulous I'm using the fabulous StreamYard tool, which I love. Okay, share my screen. Yes, share. And I'll just show you real quick how I do this. So I'm going to minimize myself. Let's go big screen. No, that didn't help either. Okay, so anyway, I use a character count tool, and it is charactercounttool.com. That's my favorite one. I don't know why, but it is. So what you want to do is you want to type in your subject line or whatever it is that you want the character count of, and then up here it will show you the number of characters and the number of words. You want to try to stay certainly no more than 9 if possible. You want to stay in the neighborhood of 7 if you can is a decent number, but focus more on the character count. And again, you want to stay between 40 and 60. So that's just something to think about. Now, what I normally do, and good copywriters will do this, and of course, while I focus on content, I do write copy, and there's a difference, and I've talked about it before. I'll talk about it again later if you want me to. So what I do is, good copywriters, the way I was taught, was you want to brainstorm as many headlines, or in this case, subject lines, as you can. Aim for 50, believe it or not. My mentor, the fabulous Lori Morgan Ferrero, always encouraged us to write 50. I at least come up with anywhere from 15 to 25. I don't obsess about the number, but you do want to try to brainstorm as many as you can, and then usually in the top 10 to 15, that's where I'll find what I feel is the best one. Of course, you never know until you split test, as much as people hate to do that. That's the way you really find out which headline pulled the best, meaning it got the best action. So just to show you real quick, let's see, I am having a bit of a moment here. Okay, so I'm going to keep sharing, but I'll show you just quickly how I do. I'm working on, you can see right here, so I have notes to myself and to my client, and then I brainstorm a big bunch, and I'm on to, I think I've only gotten to about 10 so far. So the other thing for you to think about, stop screen. Okay, so, all right, so big one, you're only sending to people who want what you have to offer. 2, you're keeping your subject lines tight to remember those people are probably reviewing this on a mobile device. 3, you're going to keep your character count to in the neighborhood of 40 characters, 40 to 60 on average. You're never really going to know what it looks like until you test it and until you see it on different devices. So it's always a great idea to send a test, or if your email service provider allows you to preview, try to preview what your email is going to look like if at all possible. Okay, so a couple of other things. One is personalization. I know that, that's the hot thing. Of course, personalization became possible, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago. And of course, when it was new, it really worked effectively. And yes, people do like to see their name, and there are stats that show that, it does tend to improve response rate a little bit, or action engagement rate. Let's put it that way. The problem I have with personalization, I have a couple problems. One is that I know what you're doing, right? I know the system's doing it. You didn't actually type my name. 2, you use up valuable real estate by writing somebody's name in that space. So let's say your average prospect or average person on your list has a first name with, I think mine has 6. So now you've lost those characters. So that's why I really don't emphasize using personalization. It's your choice what you do, but I don't waste my time with it. So, but of course, test, right? That's the best thing for you to do, is to look at data and make decisions based on data, not like you're throwing darts. Okay, so I am a data person, get data. Next is thinking about how you inspire people to click through. Again, this is a whole thing on its own. I could go on for hours about, but I won't. Just a couple of quick tips for you. One is you want to only write about people, things they care about, right? Segment your list wherever possible and send targeted messaging to the people who are on that particular segment or sub list within your greater list. You want to also watch using questions as part of as your title, your subject line, I mean. And the reason for that is because if you ask a question that can be easily answered no, the person has just skipped right over your email. And that's what we're doing, right? We're all scanning our emails for what we can delete, what we can unsubscribe from, and what we need to act on right away. So you want to be very sensitive to, if you're going to use a question, and they can be very effective, you want to watch that the question you use is not something that that the person could just go, nope, not me, and skim right over. If you use a question, you want to ask a question that requires that, right, makes the person go, You want to really ask a question that is going to inspire them to think and to reflect on, boy, do I really know the answer to that? Am I really doing this right? So just be very cautious. And again, this is why brainstorming subject lines can be so great, because then you can really sit back, give it some thought, and make sure you're choosing a subject line that is really powerful. So you want some additional tips. You want to make sure that you are not using any spammy language. You want to make sure you're using a reputable email service provider, or ESP, email service provider. I would hope that I'm not talking to anyone who is still using their internet service provider to send their email. Stop doing that. Stop it. You must use a reliable email service provider for a lot of reasons. One is because people need to have the ability to unsubscribe, and you want them to be able to do it in one click, right? So you don't want your ISP to designate you as a spammer. No, come on, don't do that. You're grown up, have a grown up business, pay for email service providers. MailChimp has a big free package. It's very, I think it's complicated. It's like using a fire hose when you need a squirt gun. Find the one that is simplest for your organization, but that is going to allow you some room to grow. It's a giant pain in the neck to switch email service providers. That's for another time. Okay, so just to do a quick, speedy wrap up, because I came in here to just talk about subject lines. So when you're sending email, yes, you do want to build a list of folks that are outside of your social platforms. Don't be desperate and get everybody on your email list, because everybody doesn't want to hear from you. Sorry, but that's true. You want to make sure that you segment your list as much as possible so you're sending targeted messages to different people. As for subject lines, you want to make sure that you are averaging 40 to 60 characters. Do a brainstorm of the best subject lines. Be careful when using questions as your subject line, because you don't want to ask something that makes somebody just go, nope, and delete your email, right? And then of course, you want to only send information that people care about, that is going to build your relationship with them, that is really going to pre-sell, educate, elevate, inspire, and invite, right? Always invite them to take that next action. So those have been some quick, speedy tips on email subject lines and beyond. I hope these have been helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to post them. I circle back and respond at some point. Can't promise you that I will respond to you directly, but I will answer the question so that everybody benefits from it. If you need help, you know how to reach me. You can always shoot me an email, winnie@winnieanderson.com, or you can private message me here. And I'm happy to have a conversation about what your challenge is in your marketing and sales process and see if I can help. And that's it. And share this with your friends if you think that they would benefit from it. All right, I will catch you later. Have a fabulous rest of your day and rest of the week. Bye for now.